All right, men, welcome to today's episode of Strong Men, Strong Marriages, How to Stop Losing Your Temper. So look, high achieving guys, I don't know why, most of the guys I talk to have some anger issues. I don't know if that's just because we're kind of high energy folks, we're kind of intense and going after goals and that sort of thing. Temper tends to kind of come with it. So unfortunately, that does some damage. It doesn't really create a lot of intimacy or safety in your marriage. And so we want to talk about how to stop losing your temper. Not that it's wrong to be angry sometimes, right? Anger can help us fight injustice in the world. Um, but scaring your kids and wife isn't a particularly good use of anger, as I've had to learn the hard way. So, my name is Mike Frazier, MD. I'm a psychiatrist and marriage coach. I help high achieving Christian men have more intimate marriages. So, some wins from guys in my program, the Strong Men, Strong Marriages program. Guys are having fun date nights and connection. So fun to see, guys that haven't been doing that, haven't been able to connect with their wife, have felt like roommates or less. They're having those date nights again, enjoying time together. It's so fun to see. Talking, laughing, having fun. A lot of the guys I talk to when they come in, they're like, man, it's just not fun anymore in my marriage. It's tense. It's bland, right? So guys, instead, they're creating that fun and connection again. One gentleman shared he's feeling his spiritual strength growing every day. Man, I love hearing that. At the end of the day, we can't control what other people do. This gentleman in particular, he had a rough time, where his wife was doing stuff that was really not tolerable. So we can't control other people, but he was able to find that spiritual strength, grow his connection with God, and just feel peace, whatever's going on around us. To me, that's real spiritual strength, right? Can you stand strong in your beliefs and stand in this peaceful place, even when things aren't going quite how you want? Guys are managing emotions in better ways. That's what we're talking about today, and really confronting themselves and learning new skills to do that. Because a lot of us haven't learned good ways to do that. A lot of times we're saying, well, just suck it up, right? Just don't get mad, which does not work. And we'll learn why today. Gentlemen are sharing, hey, like really fast, they're seeing results. And that's what happens. Like when you come into the program, you're going to learn the way you feel has to do with the way that you're thinking, right? And so when you adjust that, really can start feeling differently at the speed of thought, which is really fast. And so guys start feeling better right away, which is kind of what we're going for anyway in our, we're just thinking our wife has to change so we can feel good. That's not always true, right? Now, sometimes it's true. Sometimes you do need to make some requests that your wife change certain things, and we learn how to do that too. But a lot of times it's just kind of being more in control of how we think so we can feel better. At the end of the day, I think real strength, and this is something I'm remembering for myself right now, is being able to feel loving no matter what the people around you are doing. I think that's what Jesus demonstrated for us. I think that's what God demonstrates for us. It says he lets his sun shine on the evil and the good. The love's there. It's available. For me this week, I was able to own some of my past mistakes, right? And part of it's this, man, really like owning, hey, like I have scared you guys with my anger. I'm better at it now than I was for sure. But this one today, it's for me too, just to remember these things. And that is leading to more trust, more communication, more intimacy in my marriage and my relationship with my kids too. So, like I said, man, for some reason, high achieving guys do often have a temper. Maybe that's high energy, maybe that's motivated, maybe that's just kind of comes along with this drive to achieve and succeed and get stuff done. A temper can come along with that. So, something. So at your home, it looks like something your wife or your kids say or do, it sets you off, right? So they say something that makes you feel disrespected. So a lot of times for me, it's when my kids don't respond when I talk to them, or I ask them to do something, they say no, right? Or I share something with my wife that I think we should do, and she has a different idea. Now, to be fair, she's actually very good at like not just saying, "Oh, that's like dumb" or anything like that. She's very good at kind of just offering a different opinion, not really making fun of mine, but I can still take it personally. Something that I'm working on, and it has gotten better over time. But the other thing that's often underneath that anger is like feeling lonely. And so, like when I've shared on here, like sometimes my listen will just ignore me. And I had a really good talk with him, and things are a lot better there now. I'm grateful for him being willing to change, and me too. Um, but part of that's like just feeling alone. A lot of us as high achieving guys, we grew up with sort of an avoidant style, meaning like somehow we learned, hey, it's on me to kind of take care of things. Um, and so a lot of us have this fear of being alone, right? And so when that gets activated, like my wife's not supporting me or my kids aren't supporting me, the people that are supposed to love me aren't there for me. It's scary, but a lot of times we go straight to anger and don't even like recognize that it's feeling like this loneliness or feeling hurt. Like you share something with your wife, she doesn't seem like very excited about it, and you're hurt. But instead of like registering that hurt, you just register anger. Okay. So yeah, um, so another couple examples where you can just like go straight to anger. So yeah, like when the kids ignore me, I can just go straight there, right? Anger. Your wife saying you don't listen. So yeah, if Elizabeth says like you just don't listen, I'm like, come on, like I teach these guys about this all the time. I do listen, which right when I do that, right, I'm showing that I'm not really listening to her. Or saying like I have to protect the kids from your anger, man. Like I could get so mad at that because I'm like, look, I don't abuse anybody or anything like that, and I'm getting better. Why can't you see that? It's just like you just see red. Like I feel a change in my body, and we're going to talk about that. So for me, when that happens, it's like something kind of drops on top of me. It's like a heavy, not even heavy, like I call it like a red feeling. Just kind of starts at the top of my head, kind of drops down. Um, yeah, it just feels tense in my like head and neck, especially throat, right? Definitely like a red color if I give it a color for sure. So now I have that insight because I've practiced it, right? But I want you to kind of think right now for you, what's the physical sensation of anger like? Okay, like where do you feel it in your body? So kind of go head to toe. Where do you feel it? What does it feel like? If you had to give it a color, what color would you give it? If it moves, what direction does it move? The reason why this is so important that you understand what this feeling is, because when we come to some later things, you know, we need to use that information from our body to tell us to do something different rather than yell or start saying mean things or getting super defensive or all of that, right? We need to use that internal trigger to tell us to do something different, okay, to change our habit. So again, like you try to listen, you try to defend yourself. Tell your wife, "Well, I do listen, or I am safe," right? Kind of argue back with her, and then and then you just get more upset. Like I'm talking about myself here. This happens to me for sure. Then you can say hurtful things, right? Turn it around on her. Well, yeah, like I get mad at the kids, but look what you do. You baby them too much, or you don't take care of them. Not that you don't take care of them, but or maybe you do say that. Who knows what you say, right? And you might even not remember what you say when you're angry, because when you're activated like that, your thinking brain does shut down, and you're not really communicating anymore. You're just both probably. And when you get mad, she's either scared or mad back, and so neither one of your thinking brains are online, and this just doesn't go anywhere particularly productive. Okay, so the other thing you might do, and I've done this, right? You try to keep a fight going even when your wife is asked to stop it. Okay, a lot of us as hygiene guys, we just want things done, right? Like that resonates with me a lot. Okay, we open this, let's go till it's closed, right? Let's just finish this up. I've noticed that's like a big deal with me with a lot of things like after dinner jobs. Get that done first, then we can go do other things. Okay, make sure we say prayer before we do, the dinner. And some of that's not bad, right? But sometimes, like in this example, it is bad, right? To say like, no, we have to have this conversation right now when neither of us is in a good spot to do it. Doesn't make sense. And even if one of you just isn't in the good spot, like it's not going to go well. It does take two people who are calm and able to like use their thinking brains to get to a good solution. Okay. You might even antagonize the kids to like finish the fight. Oh, like you say that to me, like say that to me again, right? Like this kind of feeling like, well, if they're gonna start it, I'm gonna finish it. I've definitely felt that. Like I can kind of feel that in my body too. It's like this kind of cold stance, like, okay, let's go, right? Um, so all of that, right? Like, are those feelings useful? Yes. When are they useful? When you're protecting your family against like someone that's a problem, right? It's like if someone was attacking your family, yeah, you don't want to feel like, okay, let's go. Like you're dead, right? Someone's trying to attack your family, yeah, you want to have that shift inside of you that's like, all right, man, you're gone, right? I'm taking care of this right now. It's a good shift to have. You don't want that shift to be happening with your family where you're freaking them out, right? Again, I'm talking to myself a lot here, but I think probably a lot of you can relate. So why doesn't this work, right? You're bigger and stronger than your wife and kids. So even if you don't get physical with them, or even if you're just like a little physical, it's scary for them that it could get worse, right? That you could hurt them, or for your wife that you could hurt your kids. Again, even if you haven't, and it might seem unfair that they're afraid of that because you're like, man, I haven't done that. Like that's not fair that you would think that. But your brain, your fear brain is not rational, right? It just registers danger. And so I mean, it just makes sense. This is like the bottom of your brain, like brain stem. I see these facial features. I see this raised tone of voice. That signals to me this person could hurt me, right? So that's what's going on. Okay, you're activating their fear center. So yeah, they are afraid, and so yeah, it makes sense that they would feel like danger. So the thing is, like fear, scaring kids in particular into doing things, it does work. Okay, short term, especially with younger kids, right? But once they become teenagers, and I'm in that now, right? And man, unfortunately, in some ways, I did sort of rule by fear, and yeah, seeing some kind of opting out of wanting to listen now. Like I'm reaping the consequences of that for sure, and trying to rebuild at this point and making progress, but like damage has been done for sure. And so, especially if you're early on in your parenting journey, man, like take this lesson to heart, like learn from my mistakes and like don't freak your kids out. So because yeah, like it's easy to say, okay, like, well, dad's gonna get mad, right, if you don't do that. And they're like, oh, finally, I'll go brush my teeth, right? But yeah, it doesn't work long term. It's kind of like Hitler. So Hitler ruled by fear, right? I'm gonna kill everybody that I feel like you're on my team or you're dead. But eventually Hitler gets overthrown. People don't really like him. They escape the country. They try to sabotage him, right? So don't be like that. Don't be a dictator. Don't be like Hitler, right? Um, so even if they don't like come in direct opposition to you, you might get ignored, you might get divorced, you might get separated from if you're not in control of your emotions. Okay. So here's what you need to do instead. Okay. So in the moment when you start feeling anger come up, again, so important you can recognize that sensation in your body. So take some breaths, right? A few slow breaths. Long exhalation. So what that does starts bringing your thinking brain back online, starts calming down the fight or flight nervous system. Name what you're feeling. Okay, I'm feeling angry. I'm feeling angry. Okay, just naming it starts releasing that emotion a little bit. Okay, feel it, recognize where it is in your body, and then release it. So I used to say deal with it, which it kind of was more about like stuffing the emotion, which doesn't work. It's like trying to close up a volcano, like, or like emotions, they're like farts. Okay, they need to be released. And so allowing that release of emotion, naming it helps release it. But then typically for anger, you need a physical release of some kind. So just be like, okay, I'm angry, I need to leave, right? Leave the situation, go do some push-ups, jump as high as you can. That's what I recommend. That tires you out really fast. You don't need to go like to anywhere special to do it. But it's a really good release for that anger. Okay. Or you can even think like catch and release. So I need to catch that emotion, I need to release it. Okay, I'm feeling angry, I need to go release it. So if that's faster for you to remember than breathe, name, feel, release, just catch and release. Okay, I'm feeling angry, I caught it, now I need to go release it. Okay, that can be a quicker one for you. So again, pay attention to how you feel first. As soon as you sense anger in your body, that's when you start activating these things. So, like, what does irritation feel like? So for me, I feel that more in my chest. It's almost like a sand. It's like there's sand grating against my chest. And again, in my neck, like I feel kind of a tenseness in my neck. Okay, like that's irritating. And usually I'd say to somebody, that's irritating. Don't do that, right? But what's more effective, hey, I'm feeling irritated. Can you stop doing that, please? Right? Like that's going to be a lot more effective because you're talking about what's irritating to you. Now, because the truth is, maybe it's not irritating to everybody. Right? It's not a eternal truth that, for example, someone like tapping their foot on the ground is irritating to every person in the world. It's not, right? So when you're like, don't do that, that's irritating. Again, like I tend to say that, and I kind of caught this creating this podcast. Um, Instead, just something like, okay, I'm feeling irritated. Can you please stop tapping your foot? Okay. Much more likely to get compliance, and also just shares like, hey, what you're feeling, quick release. So again, irritation's there. For me, that starts to escalate, right? Kind of rises up into my neck if I start feeling angry, okay, and then like into my head, and yeah, red feeling, tense, right? So what can help you too to kind of name lesser emotions of anger are like the how we feel app. So like irritation, annoyance, I'm feeling peeved, right? These are different words you can use that are kind of different gradations and that sort of thing. So naming it that way just gives you more emotional intelligence, right? Emotional vocabulary. Okay, so you sense the anger. Okay, take a couple breaths, name it. Okay, I'm angry, I'm irritated, right? Feel it in your body. Okay, it's here in my body. Then release it. Okay. So again, sometimes just naming it's going to be enough, but other times when it's really rising, it's like, okay, I'm angry, I got to go, right? So you leave and you go release it physically. So your family's not caught with you doing stuff that's freaking them out. Okay. So yeah, I mean, again, like if anger's gotten you into trouble a lot of times, like this is a real issue for you. Just you don't worry about these four things. Just say, okay, I'm feeling angry. I need to leave. Okay. I'm angry. Time to go. Okay. So even shorter, right? It's like one step instead of four steps. Because like it's damage control, right? You don't want to damage your family with your anger. So I'm feeling angry. Time to go. The one thing that's hard with this is like a car, right? People are driving you crazy in a car. It's kind of hard, but even then, like it's much better to just pull aside, okay, go walk, get off the road, and like do 100 push-ups, and then come back into the car when you're feeling more calm. Okay, that's going to be a better example to the kids. Then your thinking brain's back online. Then you can say, hey, I'm feeling angry right now. Can you please stop fighting? That would be really helpful for me. Could you please stop being on your phone so much and talk with each other, right? That would help. Or whatever, right? Whatever your request is at that point. But yeah, just again, like catch and release. Okay. I'm feeling anger. I got to go. Feeling anger. Got to go. I'm out of here. Right. Something simple. So again, emotions are like fires. Don't wait for the explosion. Right. Catch anger earlier, release it early on. So you're not just like stuff, okay, I'm annoyed that my kid is um, you know, tapping their foot on the ground right now because I'm trying to focus on something else. Okay, that's getting annoying. Okay, but I don't say anything. I'm just like, well, maybe I should just deal with that. It keeps going. Okay, now you're feeling more irritated. Okay, you still don't say anything. Now you're feeling the anger rise up into your chest, into your neck. Okay, now it's still going, right? It's 5 minutes later, and now you are angry, right? It's in your head, it's in your neck, it's in your arms. You're red. You're just ready to go. You're like, knock that off, right? And you freak your kid out. It's not who you want to be, right? So instead, early on, right? Okay, I'm feeling irritated. Just tell your kid, hey, like, I'm trying to focus right now. I'm feeling irritated. Would you please stop tapping your foot like that? Right? Much easier to do when you're not at that high level, right? When you don't have to explode out. It's just kind of like letting the steam off a little bit. So again, like, where is it in your body helps. What's its character? What's its temperature? Is it hot? Is it cold? What color is it? Does it move? And again, just naming it when it's smaller, that's often enough. Okay. And again, saying I feel irritated or I feel frustrated versus that's irritating or that's frustrating. And that typically creates unnecessary conflict. Stop doing that. That's annoying, right? That's comes to me very easily because I've said that a lot of times. Where it would be much more effective to say, hey, I'm feeling annoyed. Would you please stop doing that? Or, hey, I'm feeling irritated. Would you please stop doing that? Um, yeah, it matters. Like those words you use matter because, one invites conflict and defensiveness. One is just saying, hey, I'm feeling this way. Would you please stop? That would be helpful for me, right? Um, and then physical movement is usually necessary for release of anger, like more than irritation. So just naming it typically not enough. You're gonna have to go release that for a while. What I like to do, I take a medicine ball, I go throw it against the wall. That helps me. Okay. So this demonstrates good emotional strength, right? that you're releasing that anger in a way that's effective, that you're able to name your emotions, that you have some emotional intelligence. Okay. So yeah, naming it shows emotional intelligence, releasing it in a healthy way shows emotional strength and health. Okay. And you're setting a good example for the kids. Okay. So now they're learning it. All right. Well, instead of learning, hey, dad's scary, and also like when I get mad, a good way to deal with it is to scream at people. Um, they're learning, hey, dad gets irritated sometimes, just like everybody else, and he has good ways to deal with it. So maybe I could do what he's doing, and just tell people how I'm feeling. And when I'm getting really mad, go away and let that out, and then come back later and discuss what I need to discuss. Right? So that's what you got to do. Another thing that'll help you is a mental rehearsal. So just imagining yourself getting angry, imagine leaving the situation, imagine breathing, naming, feeling, releasing, and just practicing that like 20 times a day, just imagining that happening. Okay. The reason why I'm so big on this is like I said, this is personal. It's affected me and my family, my anger. I don't like it, right? And so I need to make sure I continue to put these things into practice where I'm just imagining, naming it, leaving, naming it, leaving. Okay. The other thing that happens, right, after you calm down, you can sometimes get to the other emotions. So, like, you feel angry because the kids don't listen, but maybe what is really happening is you feel ignored or unimportant to them. So, sharing that, right, is going to go a lot farther. So, hey, I talked to you the other day, you didn't listen, I felt ignored. I felt sad by that. You're important to me. I was just trying to help. I felt unimportant, right? That's being honest, right? Instead of being like, well, you need to listen, that's your job, right? Taking that authoritarian approach, not very effective. Or your wife says what you did wrong, right? So you can just, hey, look, like, I know I did that wrong. Just when you said that, I did feel, sad for what I did. I felt like uh, unsupported or whatever, right? Whatever you were feeling. I felt chastised. I felt like I was not enough. Okay? So that's how I felt in the moment. And then that turned into anger, right? Just show her some insight into what's going on with you. That's intimacy, right? Sharing what's going on with you. Because like anger for guys, especially, it's often easier to express than feeling, hey, like I felt alone. I felt unheard. I felt sad, right? Um, but they're part of the human experience, right? And if you can share that you're feeling hurt or lonely or sad, that's not as scary to your wife or kids. And often they're going to see you and treat you more kindly and respond to that desire to feel seen, to feel heard, to feel loved. Okay? So again, the paradox, right? Like if you want to be respected, um, you know, screaming and yelling at people and acting mad does sometimes get compliance, but doesn't really get respect because you're acting kind of like a toddler versus being able to release it in a healthy way, coming back, sharing what you're really feeling. That does get respect because you're showing you're mature, right, and strong. So as a review, high achieving guys, they often have a temper. Okay. So in the moment, learn how to breathe, name, feel, and release it. So really pay attention. How's that feel in your body? Mentally rehearse it. Practice really feeling it, leaving. So you don't scare your family with your anger. Then when you're more calm, see if there are other emotions beneath it. I recommend the how we feel app. And then share those emotions with your family. If I was feeling hurt, I was feeling alone. So to do this, it does require spiritual, mental, emotional strength and communication skills to do. Okay. So I gave you quite a few today, but like the way these get better is by practicing them. And the way you really accelerate your progress is by getting feedback, right? Coming and asking questions. Like the other day, I gave a presentation to a group of high achieving guys, like business owners, super smart guys. I went through the material, and then someone asked a question that was very directly answered in the material, right? Um, not and I'm not saying this like bag on this guy. That's just how our brains work, right? We hear something like, "Oh yeah," and then we ask a question, and then when we learn to apply it to our situation, that's when we really learn it. So we kind of walk through it, and then he got it right because he saw exactly how it applied to a specific situation for him, and we were able to walk through it and see that. But without that feedback and coaching, it's tough, right? It's going to be slower than if you did it with feedback and coaching. So if you want to do that, let's do it. Come join us in Strong Men, Strong Marriages. Visit strongmen.io or visit the link in the show notes. Fill out an application. There's also the book on there and email list you can join. So yeah, visit strongmen.io and we will see you there. All right, stay strong, men. We will see you next episode.